This is a presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the Oklahoma Sports Network's consent is prohibited. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be used without express written consent.
And a pleasant good evening live from La Grande Cantina, site of the Elgin Coaches Show. And we're talking second week of the playoffs across the great state of Oklahoma. So, you know, of the 32 in a class, we've gone down to 16 in week one. And then just like that, there's only 8 remaining. So you can do the math. After this weekend, there's 4. They call it the semifinals. And then it's the championship for the final 2 and Class 4A for the Elgin Owls. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss about last week. This week we've got Vincent Saylor that I thought was only right to get someone from the broadcast crew that has seen him through this entire run. You've been there for the last couple of years, and you're a community guy. You live out there, yep. and we appreciate all your support that you've given us. But first and foremost, La Grande Cantina, we are in the banquet area room where you can reserve this space for birthdays, anniversaries, hail and farewells, and you got Christmas coming up right around the corner, and they had several that say that they already booked. And when you get here, they got chips and salsa on the table. They got a great menu from family recipes, from their traditional recipes that have been handed down for generations, and then a more modern menu. So you can select the best of both worlds right here at La Grande Cantina inside the mall. So, Vincent, I'm going to start with you. I don't know how you can kind of unpack a season that's undefeated. Right. It's got all these records with it. But what really stands out to you, because you were comparing the last year's team, this year's team, is there anything that really kind of stood out for you about this team this year?
I think we're more balanced this year on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, Trace is having a great year. Had a great year last year as well, but much more balanced this year, both running and passing. I mean, if you kind of look at the stats, I mean, Ritson's got about 1,250 on the season rushing. Trace has got about 2,200 passing. We've got 3 receivers with over 20 catches. We've got 3 receivers with over 6 touchdowns receiving as well. So just much more balance on the offensive side of the ball. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, what can you say? I mean, 6 shutouts, only giving up 4 points a game, only 1 touchdown, only giving up 7 touchdowns all year and only 1 in the first half. So, I mean, there's just a lot to talk about on the defensive side of the ball, how well and how dominant they play. But like I said, on the offensive side, more balanced. And just like I said, just we're 1 year older, one more year mature. They, like I said, kind of had that unfinished business motto coming in after that tough loss to Claremore last year. So, but just a great job by the coaches, great job by the players, and then especially a great job by the fans as well, because when we have those home games at the Nest, there's no place like it on Friday nights.
There is not. In fact, I don't know if it was added. I was jokingly with Coach Chalmer last week. I said, are you going to add any other kind of noise distraction? I said, we've already got the jugs, the rocks, that are put in there, and then we see the horns. I've heard the horns and the rocks. Have they added any more that they could add to it outside of just being disruptive?
No. I mean, I think we added maybe a couple thousand people extra. When the playoff side came around, and like I said, it gets super loud in there, and in the booth, sometimes it's hard for us to hear ourselves, but that always makes it much more exciting.
Well, one thing that you were bringing up in the defense, and I was kind of glad you started out that way, there's been a lot of talk of Carl Albert on the Class 5A side about, how well they are, and they were being talked about, that their defense probably is outshining. They had a lot of shutouts too in the beginning of the year. Their defense has kind of been looked at more so than their offense, and that's kind of reverse, because that's usually what is the holding place for a team is their offense. But when you say, and this goes the old adage, defense wins championships.
Right.
If offense can win you games, well, guess what defenses can do? And so that's a pretty good thing to be able to go into playoffs with a great defense.
Yeah, offense, like I said, is the sexy side of things. As an old quarterback,
sure.
Things like that, I like that. But obviously, if you've always got to score more points than the other team, and obviously with those guys only giving up four in a game, it's like I said, we usually take the ball, we usually score kind of that first drive of the game, and the way that we're set up, we're kind of already ahead of the 8 ball and on our way to a victory there. So, like I said, got to give kudos to Jack Baker and those guys on the defensive side of the ball. They've played hard all year. Everything starts up front with those big three up front, and Colin Donnelly there in the middle. But they've just had a tremendous year. There's about 15 or 16 of them that play a lot, and every single one of them have stepped up and done a great job on the defensive side of the ball. And then the offensive side of the ball kind of speaks for itself. Trace is obviously broken almost every record there is at Elgin as far as the quarterback goes. And then Ritson's done a great job of stepping in and being that lead back. And then, like I said, we're spreading the ball out a lot more. Last year we were much kind of heavy to Mike Adesola on that side of the ball, but Brody Morrison, Adam Eaton, and Kason Meyer and Josh Adesola have all stepped up big time on the offensive side of the ball. On the outside, to kind of, like I said, kind of pick your poison. It's kind of hard to stop us because you can't really bracket that one receiver or whatnot,
right,
like we would see sometimes last year with Trace doing such a good job of spreading the ball out. It made our offense that much more explosive and that much harder to defend.
I saw it in week 0. I saw it on the highlights too. Kudos of adding a tight end package in there. A lot of times people are just looking to stop the run, get the wide receiver, but the tight end play is very dangerous in high school, and it kind of gets unaccountable, especially if you get a 3-3 stack. You love when a tight end can go because they don't really have an answer for that much. So, like you said, using all that. One more question I'm going to ask you before we get coach. And got players, got both sides of the ball, and we got some film to break down with their top 3 plays over the week, and we appreciate them doing that for us ahead of time. But I've asked players this, so I'm going to ask you. You're kind of as a fan in the booth. What would you say was your favorite Elgin win this year, and why?
Favorite Elgin win? I would probably the MacArthur game. No offense.
Week 0. No, that's no problem.
But probably that MacArthur game, just because it's kind of built into a little bit of a rivalry, whatnot.
And added one too, because when they switched, they didn't know if they were going to play or not. We thought it was going to be a district game.
Then we got that in week 0, and we only had about 2 or 3 weeks to kind of get everything prepared. So going into that one, everybody was kind of a little nervous because you didn't know kind of if you were prepared or not, ready to go. Right. And we know the offensive firepower that you guys have at MacArthur. So that one was a big one. And then obviously the Clinton one also was a big one because of –
Speaking of Clinton, who's still hanging around, right?
Right, Clinton. Yeah, Clinton has a big one this week
the
against
Red
Wagner.
Tornadoes,
Big win against Blanchard there, and got
at
Wagner
Blanchard
this week. Got Wagner this week. So that one was also, as far as the district win goes, that one was probably a big one just because – just the storied success that those guys have, and Trace,
only beat him one time in school history.
Trace made the comment after the game, being named player of the game, that that was only the second time in school history we had beat those guys.
Right.
So that one meant a lot too, because that one kind of got us to the district championship and kind of closed everything down for us for the year. So those two would probably kind of be the ones I would say that would stuck out the most.
Okay, we're going to take a break, but before we do, I'm going to do this as a kind of a little setup here that I was just kind of going around through files, and I happened to find, my Elgin file had all the stuff of historically. I don't really delete anything, I keep everything around. But it was interesting to go back and look at Coach's perspective and Trace Laura, because we got him on camera from a couple years ago, and I kind of put a montage for the viewers to be able to watch kind of this growth. And we've talked about these seniors that have played together ever since grade school, and they're really connected. So I thought it'd be really nice to kind of review kind of where they were, where they are, and where they're heading. And we're going to take you back not to the freshman year, basically, of the seniors. We're going to start off with when they had to make the change from 4A to 5A and stay there for 2 years before coming back down to 4A. So we're going to be able to do that in the 2022 to 24 recap. You can enjoy that.
We want to be a playoff team. That's kind of the new goal, new standard around here. And so new class, and that's just part of it. But our goals, they stay the same with what we want to achieve, and we want to play week 11 and on this year. Go Class 5A. It possesses a different challenge. New opponents, new places to go, things like that, and we're looking forward to the challenge. We come from a tough district. 4A1's tough, 5A1's tough, so tough districts, they're nothing new to us. So we're ready to get out and compete with everybody else.
I think we got a lot to prove, really. If we moving up to 5A, a lot of people think we can't do it, but there's a lot of people that think we can, so we're just going to try and prove it.
Where to throw, down the sideline, and a Sola! He's got it! He's got it! Touchdown, Elgin! Touchdown, Elgin! Michael Adasola!
What an absolute catch by Mike! You've got to see this one to believe it. Outstretched hands. The crowd goes nuts on the south side of Cameron Stadium with 37 seconds left to go, and a 6. Trace Laura connects to the corner. Touchdown, Elgin.
Wow, what a pass.
What a catch.
Let's go, baby. That's what it's about. Ain't down on top. Ain't down on top.
Good.
We're fired up. These kids, since about Christmas, they started getting the itch again to get out here and just be back to football and what we do, and a year older, and we're excited to be out here. Just a lot of everything, just getting out and just playing some football again.
Spring ball's been going great. We've been looking forward to it, since after that Guthrie loss where we didn't play very well. And every day in spring ball, we want to get better each day. We don't want to get worse. We want to keep improving on the little things and become more disciplined on everything we do. And last year, it was just all a little fast, getting a little excited before games. Now I'm more mature. I'm going into my junior year and realizing that I only got 2 more years, so we got to really start putting in the work and getting to where we want to be.
What we've told these kids year in, year out, whether we had the results or not, just believing in it. And last year really having some success, class up, made everybody believe, really lit a fire into everybody. So building on that, now that, we may not surprise people anymore, but still doing what we do. We don't want to get away from that. And, we got big goals and all these things, but at the end of the day, it's just keep building on what we're doing, regardless of where we're at or who's watching, and just kind of let the chips, fall where they may.
Trace Laura, quarterback, senior. When I was going into my freshman year, spring ball, I knew I had a chance to be the starter for a while, but it just took a lot of hard work, and now we're finally here in the last ride. Yep, excited. We got a great group of guys. I think we can play in week 14 if we just keep putting in the work. I think if you ask every other senior, we want to win a state championship. We think we have what it takes to get it done, and so that's what we're going to try to do.
There's a lot of differences. When we made the first jump, I think that game speed stood out at first, and then coming back down, especially in the district that we landed in, it's very physical. So to combat both of those things, speed and physicality, I think it's been a good movement when we went up and coming back down. So hopefully we can, getting right in the mix in our district and like everything that we do and have a good game plan going into new opponents, which, we're going to have to restudy being back down. So lots of work to do, man, but we're excited.
All right, back here at La Grande Cantina, so kind of a review of kind of the 22 season to 23 and now to 24, and kind of bounced up and look a little bit grayer, a little bit older than but certainly has been a fun ride, and we've been enjoying it, of course, being on the network. And had Vincent here with you. Before we break down this coming game, we always kind of traditionally kind of break down what you thought from the Ardmore game, and coaches, even though the score isn't, it's one thing to see it on paper and say, oh, wow, that's great. But, me being a Lions fan and they're 9-1, my coach is still saying there's stuff we can clean up, so a coach doesn't say, oh, yeah, we've arrived, we've made it, So what did you come away from that film that you as coaches would say, who can be better for the next 3 weeks, and how do you do that?
Yeah, going back and looking at Ardmore, I thought we played extremely well. I thought we came out and, they tried an onside kick right off the bat. We were able to corral that, get the ball and go down and score and, turn it over to the defense, which you guys talked about earlier. And they did a tremendous job all night against the flex bone, and that's all assignment-based, and we did a good job preparing for that all week. And, got them to punt it back to us, and we were able to go up again and kind of controlled the game at that point, which is what we wanted to do, so it was good to go out and execute that. And then, as far as going forward from this point, I think somewhere along the lines from last year to this year that we've changed is we've really, really focused on us. And, like you alluded to, we've got things to get better at. And, we say it all the time, we're not good enough to win it all yet. And so that's kind of the mentality. And we're trying to do all the small things in a big way at practice and just continue to worry about us. And I think if we do a good job preparing like that throughout the week, then we feel good about our Friday game plan.
What's with it that teams want an onside kick against you? That started in week 0, right?
Yeah, they may have watched that film. I think they were just trying to throw everything at us. Yeah,
sure.
And,
I got you.
Had to be ready.
I think in that instance, they were just trying to get an extra possession right there on that side of the ball with the type of offense that they ran. Obviously quick starts are kind of what we're known for. Talk a little bit about kind of the mentality of whether or not we win the toss or if they defer or whatever, taking the ball and kind of getting down there and getting that offense rolling kind of early in games.
Yeah, I think when you can be good on offense and you can believe in taking the football and going down and scoring, I think that anytime you can get an extra possession, I think that, in the day and age of football, I think that can play a helping hand. And I think that's something that we've really believed in this year. The captains go out every week, and we don't even talk about the coin toss. We kind of know what we want to do. And just who we are and what we want to be, I think that just sets up kind of good for our team.
Talk a little bit about just the year in general. I know now we're 1 week into the playoffs. We're 11-0, kind of where we were last year. But talk a little bit about kind of the maturity and growth of this team compared to those two. Obviously, we had a good run in 5A. Now we're back in 4A. But talk about kind of the maturity and the growth of the team and where we are right now.
Yeah, if you go back 2 years ago, made the playoffs, which was a great goal for us. And I just truly believe that sometimes it takes time to achieve all your goals, and we learned a lot that first year in 5A and last year. Made the playoffs and then won a game, and then with this group experiencing those things as sophomores, juniors, and now getting to go do it again, tremendous experience. Learn from your mistakes type mentality, and they've been really true to that. Dylan Young put out video last week of some things from the Claremore game, and I told our guys, you need to watch that every day and, kind of let that sink in. And, I wouldn't even have to say that. I think they're experienced enough that they know that they don't want to leave any stones unturned as far as preparation and what we got to do every day to keep going.
We'll talk a little bit about the offense in a second, but talk about how great of a job the defense has done all year. Like I said, we kind of talked a little bit about it earlier. Only giving up, 48 points on the year, only one first half touchdown on the season, giving up 4.4 yards. 4.4 points a game. Talk about how, that mindset of the defense, helps kind of lead to victory and things along those lines.
Yeah, absolutely. Once the season was over with last year and we kind of the dust settled and we started turning the page over, we were just talking with Coach Baker. It was going to be hard to replace the production we had on defense last year. We had some guys to replace, some really good solid players, and just guys stepped up. And I think that's the main thing is they kind of believe in the culture no matter who it is. The starters that have filled these roles this year and have done a tremendous job, and guys that were question marks when they took these roles over. But they have grown every week and believe in the defense mentality. And, it's just – we were a little bit skeptical how we're going to be better on defense, because it was already remarkable last year. But they just believe in it. And I think that with what we do defensively, Jack hammers that in so well. And we just believe in it, and kids step up, and they just do their job, and it's somebody different all the time, and that's a mark of a true defense when a lot of guys can make plays, and they're really fun to watch.
Then on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, obviously you got a 4-year starter at quarterback, so that's kind of where everything starts. I mean, talk a little bit about him and the year that he's had. 30 touchdowns in the year, only 3 interceptions. Broke a bunch of school records as we've gone throughout the year. Talk a little bit about his growth as a quarterback and where he is right now and things like that.
I've got a front row seat to it, and I've coached him for a long time now, and just to watch the steps that he's took going into this year and throughout the year have been instrumental in what we do on offense. He's calm back there. He's making throws now that he hasn't in the past, and there's something about a senior. Coach Hill says it all the time, and he's a great example of that. Stepping up, leading our offense, doing all the things that a quarterback that you dream of a quarterback doing, and he's doing them. And he's doing them at a high level, and it's been really, really fun to watch.
All right, well, Coach, we're going to have you back at the latter part because I want to save that. You save the best for last, right? the breakdown of this upcoming game, which everybody's going to talk about. But before we take a break, you have some what records are we still vying that are close yet that Elgin still can accomplish? I know you were telling me over the phone, and I couldn't believe there's still yet more to break.
So Trace has got so last week with his 30th touchdown, he broke his own single season record from last year of 29. So now he's got 30. He's 564 yards away from Garrett's single season record. Wow. So he's already beat his career record. He's already got the touchdown career record as well. So he's got a couple things there. Ritson is tied with Kwame Tate with 22 rushing touchdowns. Matt Lund last year had 25 total. Ritson's got 24 right now. Ritson also has thrown 2 touchdown passes as well. But right now, Ritson's got 24 total. So if he gets one more, he'll tie Matt. 2, he'll break that record as well. And then one interesting one of note for you,
here it comes.
Brody's got 10 touchdowns on the year, and the single season record is yours with 11. So now
1 to tie, 2 to break. Here we go.
Are you going to keep the ball away from him so that way you can keep your name in there? Or are you going to love to be second place?
No comment.
But yeah, that's kind of some of the records that we've got kind of still out there. Brody's maybe 300 yards away, give or take. He's got 771 on the year. I think it's a little bit over 1,000 as far as the receiving record there. He's a far way away. I mean, I think when you guys were throwing it around a ton, that your other receiver had like 84 catches. So yeah. I don't think we'll get anybody there. But Brody's got a chance, like I said, to tie or beat Traumer's record there, and potentially get the yardage record as well.
Good. That's awesome.
And I think Trace also is going to win the career and season completion percentage record as well. So by the time he's done, I guess he'll hold most, if not all, of the passing records in
that's
history.
Truly impressive, in a 4-year career. All right, well, we're going to take a break. We're not done, so don't go anywhere. We got Adam Castro, offensive coordinator. We got Jack Baker, defensive coordinator. We're going to break down their 3 best plays from this last week. They're going to break it down with us to kind of share with us. And we got players in the house as well. But we're here at the LeGrand Cantina. You can come and reserve this room. You can get their traditional recipes that have been handed down for generations or the modern menu, and we'll be back right after this on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Delicious Mexican cuisine? Head to La Gran Cantina at the west entrance of Central Plaza. We're open late, serving up handcrafted drinks and authentic Mexican dishes. Enjoy daily happy hour from 6 p.m. until closing time. La Gran Cantina. We're the perfect spot for both lunch and dinner.
All right, we're back enjoying that little highlight reel. Thank Adam for all of that, for capturing that. Dylan Young does an awesome job, too, and if you followed anything on Elgin, you can catch that. And Braden does it well. Yep. I mean, it's a trifecta. I mean, you get all three. You get a lot of exposure, so a lot to talk about in the class of 4A with the Elgin Owls. And got offensive coordinator, so you talked about a little bit of pizzazz and dressing up. Everybody loves the offense, right? So you can talk with that about the year, and then going before we get into the breakdown, though. I think it's always good to talk to coordinators when I get a chance. Everybody knows the names we know, but you've got JV players and young players, and you got some seniors to replace. Who are some of the guys that you're excited about bringing along that we may not, as a fan base, be aware of?
I think you start up front, and some of the younger guys, we all know like the Ant and the Jace and the Shea, but, Hudson Begley has done a great job at right guard. He's started 12 games last year and 11 this year, and just a sophomore, plays really hard. He's a 250-pound kid with a flat stomach. He's really, really strong, great weight room guy. We ask a lot of him, and he performs weekly. Plays with a ton of effort, and he's kind of just a really like a pillar of our program and what we do and what we believe in. And then you got Jackson Deal playing at center, who's a sophomore, was in a battle going in, really just in the fall camp. Really didn't think much going into the spring with him other than being a rotator or maybe a 2. And he's kind of stepped up and done a great job at the center position for us. And so those are two guys just being offensive linemen that you probably don't notice, and also being younger guys. And then, you got your, Josh is a big-time defensive player, but he's also a weapon on offense, and he's a great perimeter blocker. He's a really smooth athlete. And we talk about Brody and we talk about Kaysen a lot and Adam out at receiver. But I think sometimes Josh gets overlooked. But he's a weapon as well, and he's a really, really big-time football player on both sides of the ball for us. And then, we play a lot of tight ends. We play Adams, our tight end, and then you got Colin at tight end as well, who's got really good hands and blocks well on the edge for us. And we've been using those tight ends for a couple of years now, and it's been really nice to have them. And for the most part, those are the guys. Obviously, Trace and Ritson, and then Braxton and Tuna is another back we have that he's a different style than Ritson and kind of a change of pace. And they get tired legs trying to tackle 205 pounds all night, and then you get Braxton, who we call Tiny. We get him the ball, and he has a 90-yard run this season. He averages over 10 yards a carry, so he's an explosive athlete as well.
It's good. It's like the program is looking bright even for the future.
So as offense coordinator, but also, you're also the offensive line coach. Talk a little bit about the importance of that offensive line. Obviously, you talked about some of the young kids, but, obviously you got 3 big seniors up there as well. Talk about the importance of those guys and what they mean to this success so far this season.
I'm incredibly partial to them being their position coach. It's a position I played, and I believe in offensive line play, and I believe that you can't have much success without tremendous offensive line play, and that's what we're blessed to have, and it's really important to what we do. I think Trace feels pretty comfortable in the pocket. Ritson and Braxton, those guys don't have to break as many tackles. And we're opening holes pretty well for them. And those guys up front are just brutes, and they work incredibly hard. And I push them really hard to not only know their assignment, but to know every adjustment that they may see or any stunt that comes to them to every play. And it's really time consuming to get all that coached and taught. But those guys are really they're ready to adapt at all times. And since we do have some success up front, a lot of people will put up a new front or a new defensive look to us to try to throw us off of what we're doing. And our kids have adjusted really well, and we're really blessed to have some tremendous offensive linemen.
So talk a little bit about the balance this year. Talked about it a little bit in the opening of this. And in the 3 years I've been covering you guys, and the 5 years, 6 years you guys have been there, this is probably the most balanced attack you've had on the offensive side of the ball. Talk a little bit about that balance and how fun that makes it, I guess, as a play caller to kind of mix things up. And you've got the whole playbook kind of available to you at all times. It's
really fun, and part of that balance comes from being so good defensively and being able to trust that we can be a little more aggressive at times than normal. And, Jack does a great job on that side of the ball, which frees us up a ton. And the balance overall, people will come in with a plan, whether they want to take away the run or they want to take away the pass. And we've got guys in all areas on the offense that can really go exploit their defense and make them pay. A play I'm thinking about is just that 3rd and 8, the first 3rd and 8 of that Ardmore game. We call it two receiver or 2x2 concept, and Trace makes a heck of a throw to Adam, and Adam makes a heck of a contested catch. And being able to do things like that whenever maybe in the past that's not a play that we can have success on, but now we've got guys that are really developed and doing things in a big way to where it does free you up and gives you more confidence calling things for those guys to go out there and make plays.
Then let's kind of touch on Trace a little. I mean, obviously having an outstanding year. I mean, completing 71.5% of his passes. I mean, 30 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 4-year starter. Talk a little bit about what he means to the offense and like I said, how he is kind of a coach on the field for kind of make up for some of your mistakes,
absolutely.
Potentially sometimes in the box on calling plays and things like that.
It's been a joy coaching for this is my 6th year coaching him now, and I give him as much credit as anybody, whether it's me or Coach White or whoever's helped us on the offense side of the ball in the last 6 years. Trace has been a part of building the offense and what we do. We always say it's not my offense or Coach White's offense, it's the Elgin offense, and Trace has a big role in that and what he's doing. And his development is tremendous. We're really lucky to have someone that can put the ball on the money the way he does and understand what's going on. And just like we talked about with the offensive line, seeing a different look that we've not prepared for, Trace can do the same thing when the back end does something new. He understands different coverages. He understands leverage. He understands where we want to go with the ball. And he and I, without being able to speak to each other during a game, I think we have we're on the same wavelength of when we call what play, where do we want the ball to go, and things like that. So he's outstanding. He's a remarkable quarterback, and I'm really lucky he's ours.
Talk a little bit also about kind of the receiving core. I mean, obviously this year, like I said, much more spread out. I mean, we've got 3 guys with over 20 catches, 3 guys with over 6 touchdowns. Josh is also doing a great job with 3 touchdowns and 11 catches. Talk a little bit about that receiving core and how those guys have developed as the years progressed. And like I said, allowed Trace to kind of not have that one go-to guy where he can just kind of pick the field.
Yeah, you kind of brought it up earlier. You can't just take away one guy. Brody's kind of our deep threat, our electric ball player out wide. And you can't just take Brody away. He's a dynamic athlete that can make people miss. He can run by you. He can shut it down, catch the curl, and make you miss after that. Throw the screen to him. We can do a lot of things with Brody. And then you got Kaysen, who's just a really cerebral player that gets to the grass and finds grass in a big way, whether he's running a cross route, an option route, 5-yard out, or he's sitting down on an expanded hitch, whatever we want to do with Kaysen, he can find that grass, and he's a great option for Trace just to be able to dump that to him. Once he's got it, he makes somebody miss, and he's a good ball carrier as well. He can do a lot of different things for us. And then, we talk about Josh. Josh is a really physical blocker. He's got great speed. He's got great ball skills as well. I think he's got 3 or 4 touchdowns this year as well, and he's a really good at running that screen, the screen off the counter as well, and getting up and getting yards, whatever's there. He's really good with the ball in his hands as well. So it's been nice being able to dish it around, and then you got your tight ends, and Adam's a mismatch problem. He's 6'4", 6'5", whatever he is, and he's really fast. He was on the sprint relay last year. And that's a blessing to have Gronkowski running around the field for us. And and he's a tremendous blocker as well. A lot of people think, well, they just split him out and throw it to him. No, he'll put his hand down. He's going to go block you, and he's a physical player. And then obviously Colin is kind of that safety blanket that we can just drop it to anytime, and he can go get some yards as well.
And then before we kind of break down some of the good plays, obviously the last person we hadn't really talked about on the offensive side of the ball is talk about Ritson. The last couple of years he's kind of been that kind of change of pace back for Matt Lund, but this year became the guy and has really stepped up. 1,250 yards, over 1,500 total yards. He's at 265 also receiving. Just talk about what he means to the offense and how much he's developed now that he is that number one guy.
Well, there's nothing on the field he can't get done. He's thrown 2 touchdown passes. He's caught touchdown passes. He's ran for 22 touchdowns. He's a really physical player. He's a great linebacker. He's not easy to tackle. A lot of people are going to go dive at their ankles, and he's got probably 4 or 5 hurdles on the year for that reason alone. He really makes us go. So whenever 34 is back there, people are worried about it. And you got a 205-pound running back, 2-time wrestling state champ, running behind a massive, athletic, strong offensive line. It's worrisome. And then you put 2 tight ends on the field like we have for a while, like Adam and Colin, who can really go block. He's a load. And So it's a physical brand of football that we play, and that's what we like to do. We like to wear people down. You know, we think about the Clinton game. I think in Ritson's first 5 carries, he had like 8 yards, but he ended up having a really good game that night because we can just wear people down, and he's got such a competitive spirit that there's just nothing that's going to stop Ritzenmeyer from going and do what he does.
Well, hopefully you can see this, and we're going to break these down, and you'll catch up what play this is, but kind of break this one down for us as you see it right here.
Halfback pass.
Okay, yeah, we have a lot of success getting Ritson in the open field against some smaller guys. You know, I've heard a coach say, well, we like to get the ball to the edge because those guys that play corner eat salads for lunch, and those guys inside playing linebacker eat steak and potatoes. So we get our big guy out there, and we swing it out to him quite a bit. And it's just a wrinkle.
And everybody goes.
Yeah.
You see everybody goes.
I mean, when you're 34 has the ball, you better go
Yeah.
gang tackle him. So we see it's a backwards pass here, and then there's no one around Josh who's and using Josh out there to block on the perimeter like we do, and then just leak him out by. That was a really fun play. You know, I think it was a sudden change.
Yeah.
And then we throw that off of it. It was a lot of fun. You can see the kids celebrating, and that's a lot of fun for us. I think this might have been the one. Vincent is in the box next to me. And back in the day, we used to kind of hit the wall on touchdowns, and it's kind of like our way to fist bump. And he went back to the old banging on the wall.
There you go. Okay, number 2, we'll loop this one up. Looks like a pass.
This was a fun play call here. So with Adam and what we're doing offensively, we can move our tight ends around. So this is an 11 personnel formation that we're in, 12 personnel with Colin and Adam on the field at the same time. And we have the structure of way we teach things. We can move receivers around to different spots, and then just our concepts. They can know our concepts. So I think this is off of a timeout. We move Adam out wide from a sniffer back to out wide, and then we get a match we want. We want to try to throw the vertical to over here to either Brody or Kaysen here, but we have a check down for Trace, and then you get 6'5" Gronk running across the middle, and no one can tackle him. He can outrun everybody, so that was a really fun play for us to not necessarily draw up in the sand, but it's something it's not something that we've never repped this specific play before, but with the way that we can teach things and in the structure of our offense, we can get to things like that, and we have explosive football players that make us look really good.
Well, and it was such a good catch as well because, it was a contested catch, and Adam's doing a lot better this year of kind of making those contested catches. And then not only that, like you said, with being on that 4x1 team, he's able to run away from everybody after he gets the ball in his hand. So it was a big
Trace
play
was
right
working
there.
the pocket really well, keeping his eyes downfield, had a great protection. And so there's 11 guys doing a really good job out there right there.
Okay, and our third play that you've selected for today. And you have to see it before you come up. And another pass play.
This is a day one install right here. Day one install. Our first read gets behind the corner, and Brody's an explosive football player, and he made this kid pay here, and Trace catches it, sees the leverage that we have, and he goes and puts it on the money. That's the same play we called against MacArthur 2 years ago to win it when we threw it to Michael. But this here's to Brody. Same exact play that they've been running for a really, really long time. And we don't have just a huge collection of plays. We just can do our few things that we have in a bunch of different ways. And this is a pretty standard Elgin football right here. Day one install, and we have a great pocket. Brody gets a great release, and again we have dynamic football players that make us look really, really good.
Adam, kind of touching base on obviously had a big win last week. Against Ardmore, but now obviously we play Southside. Last year we didn't know much about Claremore coming in. What can you tell kind of our viewers and fans out there of what to expect from Southside on the defensive side of the ball, and what should we expect from the offense this week?
Southside is really well coached. They you can tell their kids play with tremendous effort, and that's something we're going to have to go match, and something that can if we can start fast and get them on their heels in a hurry. That would be tremendous for us, and that kind of starts with just a high-level execution, doing the little things in a big way early on, and hopefully getting that crowd involved in the game, and really that crowd is a huge factor of, if you've ever been on a sideline and you're losing and you hear the roar across the crowd, it's deflating. So hopefully we can start early, but they play really well. They're 9-2 now, and They come from a district that had 3 teams win their playoff game, so it's a tough district. They're going to come in here and try to beat us. They're predominantly one high safety with 4 down and 4 linebackers, but they can also move one of those backers back to a 2 high look, and they're going to try to keep us guessing on what they're going to do that way, and try to keep Trace off of what coverage are we having. They're going to try to disguise things and roll late, but they've got kids that play with tremendous effort. They got 2 athletic defensive ends. They got a Mike linebacker that reads things really well and really fast, and he gets to the ball in a hurry. They're 2 inverts. One's a state champion wrestler, and the other's a good athlete. And they got 2 good athletes at corner that play receiver for them. So it's going to be a good matchup. That if we come out and do things that we need to do early on and get ahead of the 8 ball there, then I think we could have a big night. But they're going to come in here, and we've got to play really well.
Right. Adam Castro, offensive coordinator for the Elgin Owls. We still got defense to talk about with Coach Jack Baker, and we got players to also visit with about this upcoming match of second round of the playoffs. Elgin Owls hosting, and we'll be back here at La Grande Cantina inside the mall on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Craving delicious Mexican cuisine? Head to La Grande Cantina at the west entrance of Central Plaza. We're open late, serving up handcrafted drinks and authentic Mexican dishes. Enjoy daily happy hour from 6 p.m. until closing time. La Grande Cantina. We're the perfect spot for both lunch and dinner.
Well, we're back here at La Grande Cantina inside the mall. We've talked with Chalmer Wyatt, coach of the Elgin Owls. We'll get him at the finale to kind of break down his foreseeing of this coming week. Talked with Adam Castro, offensive coordinator of the Elgin Owls, and now Jack Baker, defensive coordinator for the Elgin Owls. And welcome into the Elgin Coaches Show for this week. And I know you've kind of, throughout the year, we've had you as a guest before, but welcome back. And what can we say about all the accolades that I know the offense gets and records breaking, but, for Vincent to start out by saying, hey, let's not forget about this defense, and hats off what you've done with this program.
Well, thanks. Our kids play really, really hard. We got a really great group of kids right now that they go get after it. They buy in. They work really hard. They learn the game plan, and then they go perform on Friday nights. So they're pretty easy to coach. So,
Coach, we'll kind of talk a little bit about kind of every level of the defense here while we've got you. I mean, obviously, everything starts up front with those 3 up front. They've done a great job all year. Jay, Shea, Tristan Kephart as the starters, and we've had some other people fill in throughout the year as well with Hudson Begley and Jackson Deal and some other guys like that, Tucker New. Talk about what that front means to the entire defense and how good that they are.
Well, it's the tip of the spear, and that's for sure. I think for the last 2 years especially, people have to worry about blocking those guys up front. And they draw a lot of doubles, and you got to make some decisions on how you're going to block us because of those 3 guys up front. It really allows the guys behind them to play pretty free or pretty clean most of the time. And if not, then those guys are capable. They're athletes, very dynamic players, all 3 of them, and even the guys we roll in. That if you single block them, you're running risk getting hit in the backfield for a loss with those guys. They're pretty special.
Obviously, only giving up 1 touchdown in the first half. I mean, tremendous job by you guys. I mean, only allowing 4 points a game as well. I mean, tremendous job by you guys. But talk about some of those unsung guys that have stepped up this year. Kind of off the top of my head, I'm thinking of Braxton Antuna and Philip Ibishi on the outside, kind of those inverts, whatnot. I mean, talk about how they've kind of made the defense what it is. Coming into the season, we were a little nervous about those guys because they were replacing 2 pretty good seniors there, and those guys have really stepped up. So talk a little bit about those 2 specifically, and some other players that have really stepped up that kind of off the radar a little from the offseason.
Well, Coach White hit on it. We talked at the end of last season, and I said, it's best defense I've ever been able to be a part of, and I don't know how we're gonna keep improving it. And And a big part of it was some of those pieces that we lost that were really, really good players, and those two edges in defense with what we like to do and what we try to accomplish with our front are very important. And we've kind of knew Braxton Antuna was moving into that role as that weak side outside linebacker. He's a dynamic player, very explosive, very physical, and can run. So we kind of knew that. We were kind of at a loss on that strong side, and replacing Andre Crabtree, who was tremendous for us since I've been back. And Phillip was a reserve 4 technique, D lineman. And we said, well, he's athletic D lineman. Let's move him out there, and we'll take a look at him. And he's done a tremendous job. He's really, really come into his own, and probably future leader of this defense as it moves on. And been pretty proud of him. And then the other one that was big replacement was Bryce Martin, who was in a big battle with a corner. It seems like we always have a corner battle going on. Just one, so that's good. But Bryce is in a battle at the corner spot. He's won it. He's not the biggest in stature guy, and people have learned that if you want to try to pick up, if you want to, go ahead, but you run a risk. And he's done a tremendous job there coming in and replacing Mike, who's gone to Southwestern. So
we got to talk a little bit about Bryce. I mean, I got to get with David Dillingham on that. We were talking about all the records on the offensive side of the ball. Bryce has got 4 pick sixes this year.
Very nice.
So I would assume that's a school record, but
nobody keeps defensive stats.
Quote me.
Defense records.
Don't quote me on that one. But yeah, Bryce has done a good job. But as kind of piggybacking off of Bryce there, talk a little bit about those other 3 DBs that we've got. Obviously, Josh has done a great job at corner, and then also play some safety as well. But then Brody and Hunter back there, in my opinion, the best tandem safety duo in 4A. Talk about those guys as well.
Oh man, they've just been extremely solid. Josh came in. He battled for a starting corner spot a year ago, and then he came in and took it about midway through the season last year when Trey Harris went down, and I think he came in and replaced Trey Harris by taking an interception for a touchdown, or pretty close thereafter. He replaced him and has just gotten better each rep he's taken. He's tremendous. For his physical football player, physical on the edge. He'll make plays in the run as well as the pass. Brody, very heady, rangy. He can go make up ground. Safety's what you want back there. And Hunter Jackson is just a 3-year starter. He wrestled last year. Wrestled 113 pounds. So I don't know how big he is right now, but he plays bigger than he is, and I promise you he'll come tackle. He's a sure tackler, and he's just a competitor that never gives up on a play. I've lost count of how many touchdown-saving tackles he's made on some things that maybe have broken the last 3 years, but he's just always that guy you can count on back there.
Then last but not least, as far as the defensive side of the ball goes, I mean, everybody talks about Trace on the offensive side of the ball and, being the quarterback or whatnot. But talk about what Colin Donnelly means to this defense and being the alpha of the entire team. Talk a little bit about, kind of like I said, what he means to the defense and what he means to the entire team.
He means a lot to the defense. He means a lot to me as a player. Maybe one of the best pure football players I've got to coach in 20 years of doing this. Extremely smart, extremely passionate, and in big time situations he's going to show up for you, and he's going to carry that mantle. He's going to fight with everything he has to go get the job done, and just really appreciate the way he's played the game, the way he's prepared for the game. Like I said, it means a tremendous lot to all of us.
Talk a little bit before we get into the plays. One other thing too to talk about. Talk to the fans out there. I mean, obviously they see the black flag and things like that coming out of the tunnel. Talk a little bit about that black flag and what that means to the defense and the team as a whole.
Man, it's just something that really kind of came about. I'm kind of an old Mike Leach fan and Pirates and everything, and we came back that first game back at Cash. 3 years ago, I kind of do my little talk after defensive individual and warm-ups, and it's just kind of, we talked about, what raising a flag and what no quarter meant, and, and it's just kind of something that stuck, and I went to Coach Wyatt. I said, this is what I want to do, and I think it's really good for us, and it's just a symbol. It means something. Those guys know when we talk about raising the flag and that flag flies, it's go time. And, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to kill us. And that's just kind of the mentality that they take in with it.
And with that, I mean, obviously week 2 against Hillcrest, week 2, I guess it was, or week 1, whenever, against Hillcrest, we didn't have a black flag bearer.
No.
Talk a little bit about how that motivated defense and kind of led into, where we are now with, only allowing 4 points and some of that type of stuff.
Well, I mean, I just think it was a reminder, and it wasn't anything, Friday night. We were coming off the win with MacArthur, and played really well for, especially for a week 0 game. But it was the way that we were preparing. It wasn't up to our standard. And we talk about people talk about the standard all the time. And make no mistake, the standard is not something I set, especially defensively. It's something that those young men set.
Yeah.
They set the standard of what they wanted this to be, and I'm just there to try to hold them to that standard. And I tell them, this is what you told me you wanted. This is what you showed me you want to do. This is what you said the standard was. Now I'm going to hold you to that. And the standard wasn't being met in practice. I think we were maybe feeling ourselves a little bit, and I didn't care. I didn't care who we were preparing for. I told them, we have to embrace the process because it's preparing every day to be a better version of yourself and not to just beat the opponent that you got that week. And that was just kind of the message we wanted to send to them, and I think it was well received. And we haven't had issues like that since. So,
There we go. So, yeah, we've got some plays here that we'll kind of go over.
Okay.
Can you see?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I got you. I believe this is the first defensive snap of the football game. And I really put this on there just to kind of, you're playing a flexbone team and you're playing a team where you have to be really sound in your assignments and what you're supposed to do. This is just a kind of an example of that. I think it's also an example of what makes our defense really good. As you see, Braxton gets out there. He goes it sets the edge. Hunter Jackson's flowing out into his responsibility, and then just the pursuit. And we talk all the time, guys. If you will just do your job and then play extremely hard after that, we're going to be really, really successful. And you just see the pursuit and everybody doing their job, not being selfish. Braxton's not trying to jump inside and make the tackle. He's setting the edge like he's supposed to. Hunter's not trying to get out of his lane and go make a tackle and be the hero. Everybody's doing their job and allowing the pursuit and the hard play of the defense make the play. And I thought it was just kind of a really good example of that.
Assignment football, that's
yes,
right. Okay, number 2, let's break this one down.
All right, this is a big play, fourth down, stop. As you know, you guys have been around football a long time. Trying to get the flexbone off the field, whether they're scoring points or not, is a very difficult task. I really put this on there. They run this heavy package that we had seen, and we had, they'd like to go left. They like to go to the heavy, and so we were set up moving our front that way. Well, right before this, they took a timeout.
Yeah.
And just talking about Colin Donnelly and what he means is we go to the timeout. He comes to the huddle and he says, "Coach, they're going to go back the other way." He said they're going to go back the other way. So we had been sliding our front. We set our front solid, made sure everybody on the backside was aware. And by gosh, he was correct. Ritzenmeyer comes through. Shea Spencer comes through. We make a tremendous stop there in the backfield for fourth down and get them off the field, get the ball back to our offense.
Tight angle, you can see Colin saying, "I told you."
Yes, yeah. He might have added some other things to that, but yes, he did tell us. He's right, and that's the good thing about him is, man, I'm very, very trustworthy of him, and he has freedom to make calls and make adjustments as needed.
This is the last play of the interception by John Loman.
Yes, this is the last play of the game. It's the interception by Loman. He's one of our young guys who's going, I think, would be a tremendous player for us moving forward. But really, what I really put this on there for was, there was a shutout, and that is what it is. But what I was extremely proud of was our young guys, some of our backups. They got in there and they really scrapped it, and they're learning to play the game. And they didn't want to let them score, and they wanted to hold the shutout too, and they played extremely hard. They had caught a pass before that, got down there. is a pretty dangerous situation, and just really just want to give kudos to those young guys that really, I was really proud of them going out there scrapping, playing football the way it's meant to play, and end up getting an interception. Good things happen.
Well, I mean, that's kudos to that no quarter type
Yes,
defense.
yes.
I mean, obviously it doesn't matter who's on the field and what the standard is.
Yeah.
It's always going to be the standard. So kind of like we did with Coach Castro there, talk a little bit, obviously that kind of wraps up the Ardmore win. Talk a little bit about what you've seen so far this week. I know we're 2 days into practice or whatnot. Talk a little bit about what you've seen from Sallisaw on the offensive side of the ball and what you expect Friday night in the Nest.
Oh, I mean, they're a really, really good football team. They come from a tough district, like it's been said. District went 3-1 in the first round. So they're battle tested. They've been in some ball games. They've been in some tight ball games, some overtime wins. The last round, overtime win. And so they're scrappy. Their kids play extremely hard. I know they're well coached. I know their head coach, and I know that they're extremely well coached. Physical team, and they're going to give us a lot of formations to look at. We're going to have to be really solid again in the assignment and alignment game, and we're going to have to rise up to meet that challenge and play extremely hard. And so they're a good football team, no doubt about it. We're going to have to be on our best come Friday night.
All right, we're going to take a timeout. We still have players to talk to, and we'll wrap up with Coach Chalmer and Wyatt as well for the Elgin Owls as we continue with the Coaches Show at LeGrand Cantina right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Well, back here at LeGrand Cantina for our Elgin Coaches Show. And by the way, just a reminder with this last promo, 6 of the OSN teams still playing. We started off with 11. We have 6 left, and you can catch them on Friday night, 6:30 for our pregame, 7 o'clock for our kickoff. And, Vincent, we got some very special players in with us for this week.
Yeah, Trace, talk a little bit about this year. I mean, obviously, last go-round as a senior. Talk a little bit about just kind of the year in general and where things sit now at 11-0 and headed into the second round.
Yeah, it's been a great year on all phases of the game, defense, offense, special teams. And, we're 11-0 now, but, I mean, if you ask anyone on that team, we expected this. We expected to be where we're at. And so we've made a goal that we need to take 4 more steps. And so we'll take step 2 this week.
Sounds great. Talk a little bit about, like you said, kind of the brotherhood of these guys. I mean, we all see the pictures of you and Jace and Colin with, Coach Wyatt when you guys were ball boys to now where you guys are now. Talk a little bit about the brotherhood. And at the end of the day, I mean, no matter what happens in this game, I mean, this is going to be the last time you're playing at Elgin. I mean, talk a little bit about what that means. I mean, you and I talked a little bit about senior night, and we were like, we still got a couple more games here, so it's going to be – but now, I mean, the last one's here. I mean, talk a little bit about that and kind of the brotherhood and what's going on there.
Yeah, we've all played together our whole life. And so, I mean, we've grown up together, and then there's been so many days we've been at that field.
Yeah.
And it'll be a fun last time to play there.
Okay. Josh,
I got one question before just because I know Elgin is family, and not only that, but your family is very important to you. You had all of your family there. It was also nice to see both of your grandpas in the senior picture. I know that it was a little bit to try to get Grandpa Leroy out there, but I know old coach from Lawton High for years and has been able to watch your games from afar. But to have him on the sidelines for these last couple of games, and I know he wasn't feeling up to it one day, and he just said you really asked him, and so he made made an effort to come. But talk about that nucleus of family support that you've had, both your brothers, and your mom and dad, of course, and your grandpas that have enjoying this ride along with you.
Yeah, it's been great. They support me every day, and I've been doing this football thing with them my whole life.
That's all you ever knew.
Yeah, watching all my brothers play.
Sure.
And then it's just been great.
Now it's your turn, yeah. Yeah, and you'll have to go back because you'll have a nephew that you're going to have to eventually follow. Yeah, okay, go ahead, Vincent.
Josh, let's talk. You're obviously a senior now as well. I mean, last year you and your brother played on the same field. Now you got Caleb out there with you as well. I'm not going to ask what it's like to be second fiddle to Caleb, but we'll just kind of keep that for off the air. But talk a little bit, like I said, about kind of this being your senior year, where you guys stand right now, and like I said, playing in the nest for the last time.
Yeah, like Trey said, we kind of expected this, but we got to still take care of business and get to our goal that we got.
So what's more, the interception or a touchdown catch? Which one do you like better?
Interceptions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's a defensive guy. There we go.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Jack likes that. He got a big smile up there. The black flag is waving. Yeah, that's right.
We got an early suitor for Black Flag this week with that answer, huh? Josh, like I said, talk a little bit about playing at the nest. I mean, obviously on the defensive side of the ball, when it's third and long or whatnot, I mean, the place goes crazy. I mean, talk a little bit about what that does for you guys as players and on the field.
Yeah, I think we got the best community, and they're loud. We got so much support from them. It just makes playing just a lot better.
All right, we got two more players yet, and then we got Chalmer Wyatt, head coach of the Elgin Owls, to kind of formulate this as one big show, and we really appreciate LeGrand Cantina having us throughout the whole year. Seems like, not too long ago that we're in 0 week starting this all off, and look at that, second week in the playoffs. We'll be back right after this on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Delicious Mexican cuisine? Head to La Gran Cantina at the west entrance of Central Plaza. We're open late, serving up handcrafted drinks and authentic Mexican dishes. Enjoy daily happy hour from 6 p.m. until closing time. La Gran Cantina. We're the perfect spot for both lunch and dinner.
All right, we got a La Gran Cantina here for the Elgin Coaches Show. Appreciate their hospitality all season long, and got some more players there coming from the nest. So
yeah, we got tight end Adam Eaton with us, and then big Antonio Ogamora with us as well. So Adam, we're going to start with you. You're part of that nucleus that's been playing together for a long time with Trace and all those guys since Little League. I mean, talk about that brotherhood and playing in the nest for the last time this week.
Yeah, us growing up together, it's definitely helped us, have that trust. So, when we're on the field, we can all trust each other. We're all going for the same goal, so it's nice.
Take me through that touchdown last week, kind of on the long, we kind of watched it with Coach Castro there, and we kind of contested catch and then run after the catch. Take me through that and kind of what the feeling is of getting open in the nest and getting in the end zone and seeing everybody yelling and screaming and hooping and hollering for you.
Yeah, so we came out of a timeout, and I was not expecting that play call at all. They were like, let's run the dig. And I was like, okay. And then I actually got it. And then that was my first time really seeing open field. So it was pretty fun to be able to just run untouched. Yeah. So,
Ant, let's pass it on to Ant. Talk a little bit. Obviously, this was your one and only year here at Elgin. Talk about kind of coming in and how the team has kind of opened their arms and embraced you, and the type of year that you've had this year.
Mm-hmm. Ever since we got here, the players, Trace, Jace, they had emailed me saying hey man, come on down, come play with us. And I was like, yeah, I'll let y'all boys know. And then little do we know, we ended up moving to Oklahoma, and then I came to watch the second round playoff game, and then I seen Trace and those boys on the sideline. That was kind of like our first what's up. And then after Thanksgiving break, kind of got to school and then started to build a relationship from there. But overall, the coaches and all the boys on the team, they've embraced us, myself and my family, well. Like, we feel the love all the way around.
Good. Now, obviously, can't have you on the show without talking about the touchdown against Cash. So talk a little bit about that. We've nicknamed it the Thick Six, I think is my understanding. So talk a little bit about that and how cool that was as an offensive lineman to get in the end zone there against Cash.
Yes, sir. Shout out to the special team. They're the ones that recovered the ball in the first place. So
there we go.
They're the ones that made it happen. But they recovered it, and we're on the sideline. We're just going over like we just talked before we go out there for sure. And then, I heard doubles left Rocky Top, and that's what we call the play.
Right.
Going to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Trace had gave me a look, and I was like, oh snap, we about to run it for real. So we go there. I'm kind of nervous a little bit. Now I'm just trying to not think about it too much, and then I think it was like a timeout or something was called. So I was like, all right, let me get myself together again. And then I look up at my mom and dad. I'm like, we're about to run it. We're about to run it. So my dad gets his phone out, and we go out there and line it up again. And then Trace does his green set go, and I take I kick back and then start running down. Brody catches the ball, dishes to me, and I just run over to Enzo. I don't know what that safety was trying to do though, but.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to run him over or try and juke him or what. But.
I was trying to make a decision, but he just stood there. So I was like, "Man, I'm sorry, bro."
And I thought it was cool. I thought a cool part of it too was you kind of giving the shout out up there to Coach Castro, saying, "Hey,
shout out Coach Castro."
Yeah. Adam, one more question for you. Talk a little bit about. Obviously, last year Claremore didn't end the way we wanted to. Talk about what a win this week and moving on to the semifinals would mean to you guys as a senior class and as leaders of this team.
It would be huge to win this week. I'm not sure if I'm right about this, but I don't think we've made it to the semifinals before.
No, I think this would be the farthest we've ever gone. So
another record we could set.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, it would just be something huge for the whole team and for the seniors, taking the next step toward our final goal. So,
and as a community member, we'd love it too for you guys.
Yeah.
So nothing but luck on Friday, and wish you guys well in the future. And I know you're headed to Tennessee, so good luck with that as well.
And we'll be watching. All right, so we're going to close out with head coach coming up to kind of close out what to expect with this next week's matchup. Yeah, it's a big one to go to the semifinals. Punch your ticket to the Final Four in Class 4A. We'll do that right after this timeout on the Oklahoma Sports Network. All right, one last time for the Elgin Coaches Show here at La Grande Cantina. Vincent Saylor, part of the broadcast crew for your Elgin Owls. We want to thank Adam Castro, offensive coordinator, Jack Baker, defensive coordinator, of players that came and coached. And before we get into the breakdown, I kind of want to get a coaches. Really, I don't know if you can give me a solid answer for this because we've seen it in 2 4A games this past week, including the opponent that you're going to have is Sallisaw and Grove, and you had Blanchard as well. And a decision to go for 2. And Sallisaw and Grove, I just want to fast forward through. I said, well, what makes this game the game? And then I fast forward to the overtime matchup. And I understand what I've always heard is if you're a coach, you're on the road, and it's overtime, you go for 2. I say based on the situation, because there was a lot of ugliness and flags and stuff like that. I didn't like the rhythm, and my personal opinion is, okay, let's kick this, tie it, and then go into OT2 and see if we can have to go for that. So I don't know if there's put you in a situation like that. Two teams decided to go for it. They came up on the short end of the stick on that. What's your philosophy in going for two when necessary on OT, and whether it's at home or away, or what do you think about that?
I think a lot goes into that. I think there's situations where if you are on the road and you do have some of that rhythm, I think you should go and use the momentum to your advantage. But as far as what we would do, we would really have a good feel of how the night's gone, what we like, what we don't like, and with us, I think that if we go ahead and kick it and put the defense on the field. We would feel good in doing that. But I think it's just such a feel thing. I think you have to have a good feel on what's going on. And that's part of my job throughout the game, is to get a good feel on how things are going. If that situation comes up, then, that you have an answer built in.
One more thing before X's and O's and Vincent can take that. There's two things that are going to be a factor in this game. One is for Sallisaw, it's a 3.5-hour bus ride. And it's good that you win your district, you're at home, you don't have to take that. And whether coaches take half the route, they get off after an hour or so, get off, stretch the legs, they get a meal somewhere. So there's a lot of plan and preparation for that. Second is weather, and it really isn't rain. It's really cold. And there's a cold front on the way. I don't know when it's going to hit, whether it's game time or after game time. Maybe only in the 50s for a high, but then it really kind of gets a little bit cool. And I was talking in a podcast, which we just downloaded earlier today on the Oklahoma Sports Network, about cold being a factor. It hurts. It hurts when your hand gets hit on a face mask as opposed to when it was 90 degrees out to this. And how much is that going to play a factor in Friday's game?
It could. I think the way that what I have, the weather not being too bad when we start the game, and I think that if it's not bad when you start the game, a lot of times that's what you take with you the rest of the game, no matter if it drops too much or whatever. But I don't foresee that happening. But yeah, you could, as the winter gets here, a little bit of that plays into the effect of the balls could get a little harder. Obviously things like that you can get banged up a little easier, but. It's just something we've got to prepare for, and something we've got to have a little bit of attention to detail in those things, and know that it's going to be there. And if you got a plan and your plan, you have a plan for it, you don't have to worry about it as much. So that's kind of where we err on that.
Well, I think a lot of that also has to do with now that everybody's kind of going to those turf fields. It's not as big of an issue as it used to be with the hard ground and some of that type of stuff. So that's it's going to be a little bit colder, but like I said, with everything that's on the line, I don't think that's going to play a huge factor.
We shouldn't be thinking about the weather.
right. But like I said, we asked Coach Castro and Coach Baker while they were up here a little bit, but talk a little bit about what you've seen so far in films for Sallisaw. I know we've talked the last couple of weeks, kind of thinking of potential matchups and whatnot, and we, just like Claremore last year, we don't know much from those guys on that side of the state because we don't, not much film
they're almost to Arkansas.
Right.
They're a little ways away.
Not much film shared and things like that. But so, we're 3 days removed from probably getting some of the films and things like that. Talk a little bit about what you see from those guys and what to expect on Friday night.
Yeah, to reiterate, some of the guys, they play extremely hard, and, when there's 8 teams left in the state, they're all good football teams, and that's why they're in the second round just like us. They do a lot of good things on both sides of the ball. Well coached, wrinkles in what they do, just like other people that are successful. They have wrinkles, and that's part of why they're successful. And it's just, again, it's about us matching up with what our game plan is, what we want to do schematically, and going out and executing in a high level. And that's been the memo all week long, and I really believe that we're bought into that. And I'm just excited to watch this group go out with the right mentality to take that next step. And it just starts with us, and we can talk about Sallisaw all we want, and they're good and what they do and everything, but I just want to see us come out and play the best we can. And I think if we do that, I believe in our team.
Now, also, obviously, the Nest is a rocking place and things like that, and this is the last time that this group is ever going to play in front of that crowd. Talk about what that crowd means to you, what the Elgin community means to us on Friday nights with the way that they, shaking the jugs and getting loud and all that kind of stuff. Tell the Elgin people out there, like, what they mean to the game and to the team.
Yeah, I grew up in Elgin. I know a lot of people in our town, and I've kind of said this early on, like this town, this community has been begging for a football program to get rolling. And, just how they're supportive, you see that on Friday nights. You see them believing in something else, and when all of Elgin can rally behind these guys, it's really special. It's really special. And you go to the co-op and they're talking about this week's game all week. You go to my dad goes to the Sterling Cafe. That's all they talk about over there. And it's just cool because it's just a big belief and it's special and you can't manufacture it. You've got to build it. And it's so cool to see all the people. And I got Facebook. I see all the people on there and just them to rally behind our guys. Is really special, and we were very appreciative, and it definitely helps on Friday nights. I think the last play of the game last week when we picked it off to end it, we all talked on the headset. I think that might have been the loudest it had been all night, and that's last play of the game. The game's decided, and they don't have to do that.
Right.
But they believe in us, and they believe in us the whole time, and that goes a long ways.
So obviously, if we can get by this one, it will be the furthest an Elgin team has ever gone to the semifinals there in 4A. Talk about what that would mean, to this group as players, but also to the community itself.
Yeah, again, I think that we would just keep pouring steam on this thing from a community standpoint to a program standpoint. I would be thrilled. I'd be so thrilled because it's another step towards our goal, and I am so thrilled to watch these guys. Take a step each day at practice, and that's just been kind of the memo. I think that sometimes you can look at this big picture and you can start thinking to yourself, but if you can just be simplistic with it and know that this game's still simple and take it with that approach, like I told the guys today, I believe in us. I believe in us all the way if we can do that.
And last but not least, obviously believe in ourselves, but what's the message to the team this week? We're 11-0. We're kind of where we want to be, but it's unfinished business. This is the next one, so this is the most important one. But at the end of the day, the goals were to potentially hold up that gold ball at the end of the year. So, what is the message to the team coming into this one?
Yeah, I think we've kept it simple. Do the little things in a big way is what we've talked about this week. And I learned a lot from last year's second-round game on kind of how our approach should be different. We had a lot of sloppy, self-inflicting penalties and mistakes last year, and I think that with us focusing more on us than whoever we're playing, with the talented group that we have, and we do that. I believe in us, and so that's what the message is, just focus on us. If you're supposed to take a step with your right foot, then you take the best step with your right foot possible. And so that's kind of been the mindset of our team. And I don't have to tell them a lot. They're smart. They know that this game, second round, hurt last year. And I don't have to say a lot about that, but I will. And,
as a reminder, yeah.
Yeah, but I've been really proud with our preparation and mindset going into this one.
All right.
Coach, good luck. We'll be there, obviously loud and proud on Friday, and looking forward to this one, and looking forward to the rest of the way.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, so Vincent Saylor, Chalmer Wyatt, head coach of the Elgin Owls. Want to thank Adam and also Jack for spending some time with us, breaking down some film, and our players as well. And we want to thank LeGrand Cantina, who's been a great host all season long. And we want to keep this rolling, so we'll have another Elgin Coaches Show next week on a Tuesday. We'd love to have that as well. So we're going to wrap things up, and you've been watching a presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network. See you on Friday, 6 playoff.